G'day guys, this is Tyr and welcome back to another Fallout 76 video. Now I bet at some point in the last 3 years you would have used an energy weapon or elemental weapon in this game and thought to yourself at some point, hey, this thing is kind of weak compared to my ballistic weapons. And you'd be right to think that, and that's because it is. For the last 3 years, weapons that produce the energy or any elemental damage type have been bugged. That is, until now. Let's get into it. Okay, so the short and sweet of it all is all energy and elemental weapons such as laser rifles, cryolators, flamers, and plasma weapons have been afflicted by a glitch in the system that resulted in much lower damage output than what was originally intended by the developers. The problem was energy and elemental damage only factored in the weapon's absolute base paper damage against a target's armor, which unfortunately led to far lower damage numbers. That's just how these weapons have worked for the last 3 years. And then on the flip side of things, the physical damage weapons like miniguns, fixers, and shotguns function correctly. They factor in anything that may increase your damage before being reduced by a target's armor. Now it's important that I show you this formula. You don't have to understand it because believe me, I don't either. All you have to do is read the words and then take a look at the final damage number there in the formula. Even with exactly the same damage output and same armored target, energy weapons will simply do less damage than physical weapons due to this error that I mentioned before. Now, for the moment, this is not fixed on live servers. No, we have to wait a little bit to experience this fix. However, thankfully the data miners like Mapex have scrubbed through the PTS files and have confirmed that this ugly little glitch is fixed in there. So yeah, very soon all damage types, energy, radiation, poison, fire, cryo, etc. will function correctly and will factor in your buffs before being reduced by a target's armor. So we should have correctly functioning energy and elemental weapons once this update goes live. And let me reiterate, again, this is only currently fixed on the PTS and is not yet in the live game. In the live game, your energy and elemental weapons will still be doing slightly less damage, unfortunately. So you all know that this is a problem and that it has been fixed. But I'm betting not a lot of you have seen many examples of how busted energy weapons were. So I decided to firstly convince Mapex to do up a nice visual representation for you guys. As you can see here, on the bottom axes we have our enemy armor resistance, and on the other we have our damage output, and the lines represent how much damage our weapons would actually do against said armor. As you can see, there are 3 lines. We have an orange line for the handmade, a light blue for the laser rifle before the fix, and then finally we have a dark blue for the laser rifle after the fix. As you can all see, if these weapons do around 145 damage against the target with no armor at the top left, then if we were to shoot a target with more armor and more armor and more armor, the damage of the laser rifle before the fix drops down and dips very fast. And you can see this, if the target has 200 armor, then the handmade and the fixed laser rifle will be doing around 63 to 65 damage, while the busted broken laser rifle will have dipped down to 41 damage. So on and so forth all the way up until we are facing targets with 800 damage resistance, which we won't ever realistically see, but it's nice to see that there just in case. So yeah, that's just a neat little visual guide for you guys. Now, this topic has been covered before by Angry Turtle. I'll leave a link to that video in the description if you want to see it. Basically, he shows in person the damage differences between these weapons, so I recommend you check it out. So, this is great, isn't it guys? Bethesda's finally fixing bugs that people have been reporting since beta. Well, yes, this is great, but it also indirectly leads to another problem. Unfortunately, all legacy weapons, mainly explosive energy weapons, also benefit from this buff, obviously because they utilize energy or elemental damage. I've explained how these weapons worked in a previous video, so if you're interested in checking that out, it's in the top right of the video right now. But yeah, I won't speak too much on this. I know a lot of you hate legacies and I know a lot of you love them. I guess the only option is to sit tight and see how Bethesda responds to this. But yeah, it is true. All of these legacy weapons will be inadvertently more powerful thanks to this energy weapon buff. Now, getting away from the topic of legacies, there's also another thing that is not being considered. This buff only solves problems for rifle weapons, snipers, pistols, and heavy guns that have moderate or high base damage already. Unfortunately still, for low damage dots or low damage high rate of fire weapons, for example, such as beta wave Turner dots, Molotov cocktails, Strangleheart poison, the ultrasight laser guns, both Gatling lasers, hell even the alien blaster, which is a featured weapon of the next patch, the 10 shots for 10 damage problem still may apply. making these weapons and dots still feel quite underpowered despite being better than they were before. Now don't get me wrong, all of those items I just mentioned and more are getting this buff applied to them and are being boosted, but simply because of how little damage they dealt by default, they will not see much of a boost overall and will still be quite underwhelming. So yeah, I think that's also important to mention and something that Bethesda should mess around with and change. There needs to be a higher focus on individual balance between high rate of fire weapons and damage over time effects, like I previously mentioned. Now Mapex returns once again with a good explanation and potential solve, as you can see in the screenshot. Feel free to pause and read it and just ingest the information that this brilliant mind is giving all of you guys. But yeah guys, that's going to do it for me for this video. I just really wanted to let you all know that energy weapons are being buffed and this 3-year-long glitch is finally being fixed. This is important for a few reasons. Number one, it shows Bethesda, as lacking as they are, they do listen sometimes and they do fix the things that need to be fixing, even if it does take them 3 years. So that's just important to mention. And I wanted to make this video for another reason, because I know that a lot of people are going to go crazy for different reasons, because they love it and hate it. Yes, legacies are going to be more powerful now, and that's just something that Bethesda has to deal with in whatever way they choose. I don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, that's going to do it for me. A massive shout out to all my current patrons and members. You legends help fuel the content on this channel, so thank you so much for your support. And also, thank you to all of you absolute fucking legends that have purchased my merchandise over the last couple of days. We've had a great success and we've had a great launch of our shirts and hoodies. Plenty of people have been buying stickers and all those mugs and coffee cups and stuff like that. You're all awesome. Thank you all so much for supporting me and going that extra mile when you don't have to. But yeah, if you want to check out anything I just mentioned there, if you want to check out my other social medias, it will be in the description below. Check it out. Like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I've been Tia. I'll catch you in the next one. Welcome to Valhalla.